Hello. So I'm redoing my video because I got kind of nervous because my buddy was my old boss. And the last boss I had at Domino's was watching me. So, kind of, ooh, ticks. Ow. But, yeah, I'm gonna sit here for a minute and stare at the officers and people that are walking around for Christmas Eve in the parking lot. So, sitting here with the door open gives me some stimulation for like being out of the house and stuff. And also, I have my new Christmas, well, they're not Christmas pajamas, but I'm wearing for the first time on Christmas, but my new alien pajamas. I'm super happy about them. And so I am gonna chill for a minute and stare at the cars. It's a different environment than when I had my family around me. So like, and there's a lot of people walking around the parking lot, while not walking to or from cars. Anyways, so I guess that is Christmas Eve. It's not like I haven't been a part of this environment in my entire life. Weirdly, social environments. I'm very thankful to have a place that I feel comfortable coming to in order to get like social stimulation and stuff. But it gets a little quiet sitting in the house, and also waking up from really weird dreams and stuff. I had a dream about Sadie, my cat that I had for the majority of the time that I lived in the house, and she passed away a little over 5 years ago, and that was a really difficult situation because I was really sick and I had to have a friend help me like with that situation because I was unable to at the time. I was out. And I was talking actually with Joseph, and I had forgotten, like I remember getting really sick and stuff, but I forgot what happened, like what it had to do with. And like last night I remembered that was narcolepsy symptoms that I was having that are really strong, and I forgot that. Like, I forgot that little chunk of, like, having to, like, because that's when I got on the Wellbutrin, because I was having all these really, really severe fatigue problems, and, like, you know, of course, obviously, you know, I didn't think anything about anything like narcolepsy or stuff. Because I've lost some pregnancies, and I thought it had to do with like just my hormones and like draining me and them changing and stuff. You know, so I just like did not think anything about like an actual like neurological situation. And but turning out that's what that was. He's mentioned a couple times, he's like, I didn't know if you were on drugs or blah blah, and I'm like, you know, I know that's a natural reaction and stuff, but, like, that does not, you know, feel good to hear, because definitely have never been on drugs like that or anything, in my life, but yeah, so what's funny, though, is, like, when I went and got on some medication for that not long after, like I took it for a couple months, and I kept having, like, I can't take Benadryl because it gives me like a electric buzz feeling and stuff. And so when I started taking the Wellbutrin, it started ramping up. Well, not only did it give me the same kind of like buzz that Benadryl does, but it also gave me like, it started ramping up my system really fucking bad, and I was shaking a little bit, and so like it made me feel really fucking weird. So I stopped taking it, and when I stopped taking it, I like eased off of it a little bit and stuff, but when I changed it, I started having, that's when the seizures started happening. And when I say seizures, like I started having like eclectic, like, cognitive changes and stuff. So I was like, you know, at that point I didn't know what it was, and it was like a big shift. So that's what I mean by like it changed my cognitive thing. But yeah, I just realized that, yeah, I'm totally at the gas station in my pajamas, but I've got jeans on them, like, with it, so it's cool. But yeah, I forgot they're in 2019, because I was having those problems that, like, in 2019, and that would have been like the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. But in the summer of 2019, I remember I was getting so tired that there was a couple times when I was delivering that I had, like, I remember delivering to this one apartment complex, and I had to stop in the parking lot and sit there and fucking close my eyes for a minute, because I could not, like, I just could not deal. Like, I didn't have, that I know of, like, I wasn't really watching. I didn't know what cataplexy was in any shape or form. So I may have been having cataplexy episodes and just not noticed it. You know, not full, but like I do now, where I just lose a little grip or my face will drop or stuff. Like, I may have, you know, but the sleep part was like insane, and I still have that happen, but that was when I really noticed it. And the first time that I had a seizure was in 2018, so that would have been, that I know of, and so and that was 2019 that those narcolepsy symptoms kicked in really bad. But I had completely forgot about that until he, like, described it to me and stuff, and how bad it was. And I remember it now, but I was just like, man, like, that was really, really nightmarish. Like, that was so bad. I was also scared as shit, because I had I had so much going on. And I mean, honestly, that is why, you know, I'm alone, is because, like, I had, you know, some of my family members take that shit personally, when I was like, you have got, you know, to, like, leave me alone. Like, you're not making any sense. Like, you're not, like, you're flipping out on me, you're gaslighting me and stuff, and, like, I'm sick. Like, I don't know what's wrong, and I can't even get to the doctor to try to explain it to him. Like, you know, I'm gonna die. Like, I don't have any idea what's wrong. You know, like, and sure enough, you know, I went into a space for a long time where, like, I didn't even know where I was, like, barely knew what my name was and stuff, because that is, like, you know, I do have, like, you know, an epileptic condition. You know, it's not full-time. So thankful. Like, it is, you know, like, something that can get irritated with, like, you know, when I start having other symptoms with other things. You know, it wasn't just the pregnancies, like I explained to somebody else. I was like, if I ever get to the point where, like, I get diabetes, which, like, I don't have diabetes, like, I do actually take care of all that and stuff, but, like, I have two, you know, I have a half brother, then, like, a cousin on that same side of the family that both younger have, like, type 1 diabetes, and I have several family members, including my dad and my mom, you know, that had, like, type 2 diabetes, and there's the gelastic diabetes. And so with those things, it's like, when I was in my early 20s and stuff, and I had blood work done, like, I, you know, for a couple times and for a good many years, I had pre-diabetes. And so, like, if I were to get full diabetes, like, I could not take medication for it. Like, it would kill me. Like, I cannot have diabetes. I mean, like, I can obviously have it, but, like, the only way for me to treat it is, I mean, like, if something were to happen to my pancreas, like, it would be, like, I can't take metformin and, like, medications and stuff for diabetes. Like, I can't, any of, like, there's all kind of things that they do now for stuff like that, but I can't utilize that kind of stuff. Like, you know, hell, I don't wonder if, like, autism isn't something, like, you know, backed up by, like, that, like, gene or something, because I do have that gene. Like, that is a thing that is there, the diabetes thing. Type 1, like, and I, you know, have narcolepsy type 1, and there's nobody else in my family that has narcolepsy type 1. There's nobody else that has epilepsy. Like, there's no, like, it doesn't, you know, like, autism as in, like, ADHD, what that is, a behavioral, like, that is totally, you know, genetic, obviously. Like, you share genes, like, with your family members and stuff, but, like, when it comes to, like, you know, the situation I've got going on, what causes it and what boils down to, like, you know, those kind of things are genetic, but, like, the disorder itself, as rare as it is, it's not, like, a genetic disorder. In fact, people over the years, like, you know, I've mentioned this, but, like, a person that people are like, oh, you know, that's a portrayal, like a classic portrayal of autism in movies, like the Rain Man movie. Like, that man, you know, came out, like, when he, like, passed away, they're like, oh, by the way, he doesn't have autism, that's not what autism is. Like, he had a genetic disorder, like, some, like, syndrome and stuff, I don't remember what it was, but, like, he has, like, an ADHD syndrome, which is the opposite of autism spectrum disorder. So, like, that is totally not what that is. That's the thing. You know, but, like, as I've kind of shown over the past couple months, like, I've posted a couple things where I've, like, you know, in the 80s it was totally a thing where people, you know, because it was in the media, because of the wars and stuff, and, like, that, all that kind of genetic testing and stuff, and people would hear about autism and talk about it and stuff, it got really mixed up. So people would be like, in the 80s, people were using the word autism to mean retarded. Like, when people still use that word, like, in public and talked about stuff like that. And that is a social, like, not a social thing, but, like, it's talking about, like, you know, oh, do you not know, like, are you, you know, it's making fun of someone, like, not paying attention and stuff like that. And, like, people who have ADHD, often enough, are, like, more hyper-vigilant about their surroundings because they have an attention disorder. Autism, you don't have an attention disorder, you have a socializing situation. You don't have a communication problem, so you can be called up, you know, really quickly. So you do spend a lot of your time not airheaded, but, like, kind of disassociated as a kid. Like, those original symptoms of that kind of thing, like, that's totally a thing, because if somebody, because you don't have stimulation, like, to be honest with you, because you already, like, you know, nobody's talking to you, like, so it's just kind of like, you know, you're just there, you know, and then so if somebody, like, has a question or something, you're like, no, you know, it's this, and this, you know, and they're like, oh my God, how did you know that? Like, and it's like, well, you know, I just know that, and then you go back to staring out the window, you know, like, you don't have an attention disorder, you do have an attention problem, where ADHD has an attention disorder, they don't have attention problem. So, that is, it's like switched and stuff, like, and so you can't, you know, and in that, like, you can't have both. Like, that's not, you can't have an attention disorder and also not have an attention disorder at the same time, like a diagnosis, like, that doesn't, you know, that's not a thing. But I am, like, at the moment. I wouldn't, I feel myself gaining a little weight. Definitely gained some of my weight back here recently. and that's okay. I'm still fitting into my size 12 jeans, and that's a new thing I've been in, like, excuse me, like 14 for a while, but after this year and stuff, I went to a size 12, and they feel good. They feel comfortable and stuff, and that's awesome. So hopefully in the following year I'll be able to, like, right now it's also just been really stressful getting, like, back into a place, and things aren't so stabilized, but hopefully the more stable things get, the more I can take care of myself, you know, eat fresh vegetables and stuff, fresh food, like, you know, that isn't high in trans fats and salt. Like, that's already do that. I'm like, I need as little salt as possible, which, I mean, I can't cut it out completely, but I do need to eat as little salt and sugar as possible. Also, hopefully, I hope to get, I've mentioned this like a million times, like, into a really good relationship with a treadmill. I will be able to, you know, do something other than chilling in a parking lot, for social stimulation, you know, and, like, that'll be such a good feeling. Hello, Merry Christmas. But yeah, gyms. There's not a whole lot to pick from. You know, I'm guessing, you know, I definitely am looking at Planet Fitness, of course, because there's one not too far away from my house, and I have a pretty decent neighborhood. So, like, in fact, this, you know, like, there's one or two that are, like, closer to my house, you know, that I would go to, and they're both pretty decent. So those are definitely, I'm excited about that. I have no idea when that's going to become a reality, but I'm excited. I don't want to buy a treadmill because I need to get out of the house as much as possible, and also there's other things there besides treadmills. So, but you know, with walking and stuff, like, that'll help, like, you know, and other things, like, that'll help build my back muscles up, so I can take care of all of, keep my back pain under wraps and stuff, like, because back pain sucks, and it really is just a lack of support. Hopefully, you know, also, you know, with better circulation and stuff comes, like, you know, oh, look, I'm not the only one in my pajamas at QT, that's awesome. So, I'll be able to, like, that'll help me creatively. Yeah. Man, they have a lot of, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I count at least 5 security cameras on that pole. I just noticed that's pretty crazy. Ouch. Yeah, like, I am so super excited. I mean, like, I don't feel it right now. I feel like crap. But I am really happy to feel better this year. It's really nice to, like, be present and stuff, and not sick, you know, like, I can sit at the gas station and do a live video and chat and say hello to people that are cool and on my live feed, you know, because, like, I'm obviously not sitting at a bar. So I'm doing a virtual bar in my pajamas, but, like, I'm watching people. Who knows, I might see someone I know. it is really hopping here. And like I said, I'm not the only one in my pajamas on Christmas Eve at QT, so that's kind of funny. But it's not that late, so I was like, I don't know, I'm just really happy to be, like, I have a car again. I have 2 mobile situations. I've been working on them today and like researching and stuff and trying to figure out, and I really think that it's like a fuel, a fuel injector thing in both of them. Got fuel injector in both of the cars. Sure enough, I haven't had it cut off again since I got the fuel injector fluid in it. And so hopefully that continues, but I know it, like, sometimes it's a situation where the fuel injector does immediately, like, depending on things. I'm not a mechanic, so, but, sometimes, like, it may, take a little bit to, like get working and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that on both of the cars that is exactly like where I'm at that step where I'm like, this car I have not been riding and stuff, but it's been doing, like, it's had this issue. But when you look at the list, it's funny because when you look at the list of like problems that a car would have if it needs to have its fuel injector clean, like, and that whole little system there, like half of the symptoms one car's doing and half of the symptoms the other car's doing. So I'm like, but one of them's been, rode really hard, and like there's 100,000 mile difference on like both cars, and they're both like late 90 cars. So 100,000 mile difference between the 2 cars. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm trying not to lose my mind. I'm pretty amazed that I'm out and about and I can think and do something. I really did want to be sitting in the house. I get really tired of like sitting and scrolling when like it's not something that I want to do. I don't really have any body to chat with or go see or like anything to do at the moment. So like I'm just kind of like I am really, I will say this, I know he's not watching right now, but I would really like to say thank you to Joseph for like smacking me in the face with some reality things. Like he does have a way of, I talked to him last night and he, just rewording. I like when people do this, like when I talk to them about something and then they can turn around and tell me what I just said to them in a different way. Like some people are like, you're just, like, some people get weirded out when people talk like that, but some people have a way of conversating when they're like giving advice where they'll like, and I do that too, like where I'll take what you say and reword it and turn around and give it back to you. But when you do, like some people do it, they add in like, a way like that it's like, oh, you can, it sounds different coming out of somebody else's mouth. That's what it is. So like there's feelings like you can follow along, kind of like when you read somebody's lips and stuff, like you just, they're it's a completely different thing than sitting and watching yourself talk as the words come out of your mouth. And like there's a level of disassociation that happens between like having thoughts and expressing them to yourself. That's a natural part of communication. So that is an interesting thing, but yeah, I wanted to redo my video in a different environment outside of my house. Like I said, I wanted to do one tonight, and please don't hit the car. Yeah, and who knows, maybe I'll like leave the house and go somewhere, but like where, you know, like I'm out of the house, but like maybe I'll do something, you know, just find something to do. That's always, you know, I used to not have this problem when I was younger, but it's definitely an issue now in my life. I'm also feel a lot differently, where I have, you know, different wants and needs and worries and stuff than I did when I was younger. I don't have the like I was a lot more fearless when I was younger. I was a lot more experimental, and I'm not as experimental now. So like, you know, I've never had like drug addiction problems or anything like that, but like I don't even, you know, want to, like, I don't, you know, I'm like, I don't know, things are just not, I just don't readily think about stuff as much as I used to. I'm much more stationary. So yeah, so nice, I'll say it again, to not be sitting in my house and be able to get out for a second. Even if it is just to make a live video and, you know, be a little, I'm gonna find the right word, even if it is just to communicate with, in some way, stem a little bit, I guess you could say, so, yeah, alrighty, until tomorrow or the next day, you know, that kind of thing. Hope everybody has a decent night.